Man, I hear some stories and they just make me sick to my stomach. Representative Lauren Boebert, Republican of Colorado, plans to sue a PAC for defamation after it made a series of wild claims about her without evidence, assertions that quickly spread online. The source of the claims is that the American Muckrakers PAC, a group that was also behind the release of a number of salacious videos of Representative Madison Cawthorn, Republican of North Carolina, ahead of his May primary defeat. But while videos released showing Cawthorn were confirmed and verifiable, excuse me, my throat's acting up. It's a problem when I'm around trash, that happens. The PAC's claims about Boebert are not. Some details have been directly refuted. Muckrakers published these outlandish statements, knowing they were fabricated, but you likely operated under the inaccurate assumption that publishing false statements about a public figure would not create legal liability. This will be a costly miscalculation for Muckrakers. Wheeler and Muckrakers donors. Jonathan Anderson, a lawyer for Boebert, wrote in the Wednesday letter to David Wheeler, the president and co-founder of the PAC. The letter was first reported by Fox News and shared with The Hill. Boebert told the Washington Examiner that the allegations were completely false, sexist, and disgusting. This is very damaging, and that is why I'm going after this guy personally and his group with the full force of the law, Boebert said. I am not holding back, and I want to make sure that this never happens to anyone else again. Wheeler is standing by the core parts of the claims, saying that he trusts his sources, but he also acknowledges problems with the initial report. Some of what we put out was sloppy, Wheeler told The Hill, but said that does not undermine the credibility or validity of what his sources have shared with him about Boebert. Among the claims made by the PAC, here they come, are that Boebert worked as a paid escort to a wealthy man and that she had two abortions, one in 2004 or 2005 and one in 2009. The PAC said it received this information from a verified source close to this matter and provided heavily redacted screenshots of text messages from an unknown source as well as photos of Boebert. No other information was provided to back up the claims. Falsely claiming the congressman worked as a prostitute is a disgusting and sexist statement that, as you know, has zero basis in fact, the letter from Anderson said. Anderson also said that the timeline of the alleged abortions does not make sense based on the births of her children. To be clear, Representative Boebert was pregnant with her first son in 2004-2005, and he was born in 2005. She was pregnant with her third son in 2008 and 2009, and he was born in 2009. And she has never had an abortion. Anderson said in the letter, two of the photos included in the release are cropped versions of photos posted on Explore Talent, a casting website with social media elements. Boebert appears to have had an Explore Talent profile, which has since been taken down, but is accessible in Wayback Machine archives. And also, I gotta make sure that Piscord doesn't disrupt this video again. The full uncropped photos have Explore Talent watermarks and have been previously reproduced elsewhere online. The third of the photos included by the PAC in its release is not Boebert at all, but of Melissa Caron, a woman who Rudy Giuliani brought to testify at the 2020 election fraud hearing in Michigan. The photo came from Caron Explore Talent, which has also been removed but is verifiable in web archives. Okay, this article goes on a little bit longer. I'm not going to read the full thing. That's enough of that story. So, listen, I'm not a Boebert fan. I've never made a video about her to my knowledge. I could be wrong. I'd have to go back and look. But as far as I know, I don't make any videos about this lady. But I have a lot to say about this topic because I'm someone who knows what it's like to have people make false allegations about them. So, in politics, I should say that making salacious, disgusting, unverifiable BS claims about people is nothing new. If anyone remembers, in the 2000 South Carolina Republican primary, it was forwarded by people who may or may not have been the Bush campaign that McCain, his opponent in that race, was bisexual, that his wife was a drug addict, that he had an African American child out of wedlock, all this salacious garbage that was just completely conjured up to make McCain look bad. And actually, accusing various women involved with this stuff of being hookers is not new. I've actually seen multiple conspiracy theorist loving right wingers that have said Obama's mother was a hooker. Now, I'm no fan of Obama, but I'm certainly not going to peddle ridiculous things that, again, are unsubstantiated. But in the case of Boebert, what I think is really interesting is that this lawsuit, if it ends up taking place and this goes to court, it'll show that there are certain lines that cannot be crossed, because I think people like this pack have gotten to a point where they just don't ever get any consequence for making things up, spreading misinformation, lying, etc. That they just figure, oh yeah, we can say this lady is a hooker and that she's had 2 abortions, and then that'll help us with making her look bad for her voters, because people just believe anything that they read online or that they hear in an article or from some other source that's not verified. And I love how he claims, oh, there were pictures. Well, where are these pictures? I mean, if she was a hooker, presumably operating for multiple years, wouldn't you have some photos, some kind of receipts that would demonstrate this? God, and I always explain to people that free speech, and the problem with it a lot of times is that people don't expect for there to be consequences. Like, they put this stuff out, I bet they were completely shocked that they were getting sued, because they've done this to other people. They just make up stuff and hope it sticks, and if it doesn't, they go to the next person. But allegations like this can be very damaging for these people, not even just politically. I mean, imagine if her husband believed that she, reads this garbage that she was a hooker at some point, and then wants to get a divorce or feels betrayed because in believing this, he's upset at her for not telling him. Imagine if he reads one of those articles about these supposed 2 abortions that she had and goes, hey, you might have aborted some third kid of ours. Again, that's the type of stuff that people get set up for when you allow, under your free speech system, individuals to go around and, with no evidence or proof, make salacious, damaging, exploitive claims about individuals. And like I said, I've been someone who, for a long time, when I don't like a politician, I talk about their positions on issues, their votes. Whether she had been a hooker in the past, which I'm not saying is true, I know it's garbage, but just in a hypothetical, whether she had had abortions in the past, which again I doubt and I don't believe. What does any of this have to do with her voting record? That's why I said, when you get caught up in trying to like analyze people's characters and look for anything to try, even if even if you get so desperate you have to start making stuff up. That's the kind of tabloid garbage that we get led into. So I really hope that this lawsuit goes forward, that this pack gets sued like crazy, and that Boebert, remains unaffected by this. I'm not saying I hope she beats whatever Democrats she's running against, even though some of them suck too. But I certainly am on her side in this instance, because it's, like I said, I'm just tired of people being able to go and make up a whole bunch of ridiculous garbage about someone and then think they can get away with it. Oh, we're running in a race and, politics are dirty. Yeah, and they can also affect people in ways that are very damaging. So just like she could have gotten in trouble with her husband or, voters for the lies you made up, I hope you guys get in trouble by getting sued like crazy. So I just, I'm really disgusted by the fact that people, they can just, I guess that's the problem with living in the digital age. Anyone thinks they can just come online or be part of some political organization or group, spread something with no proof, and they expect no consequence. And I really hope, because she said she doesn't want them to do this to anybody else, I really hope that if they get sued and they lose and they have to pay a whole bunch of money, that this encourages people to stop making this stuff up. I was talking about doing some more documentaries. I haven't done any in a few years. And when I get around to doing those, every single thing I say about the people that I make one on, I'll have a source. I'll be able to say, hey, I read this in this book. This news article said this. They said this in an interview. All of it, every single word that comes out of my mouth about that person is cited from something they said or someone that reported on them in the past. It's nothing that I just created and decided to start peddling around to smear them, because I don't believe in doing that type of stuff, and I'm glad that these people are facing the consequences of doing that.